Hey, what was I doing? This stuff. So I went through this one. Now I'm checking out this. Slice thrusters. The tugs have a powerful suite on ion thrusters for rapid maneuvering. If you can sneak in and slice some off, you'll have a significant upgrade for the Briar. The kind of thrusters the tugs use will give the Briar improved maneuvering, useful in the cramped quarters of the blood dealer. Havenage suspicion. All across the cord and Havenage security are keeping a close eye on things. Gain their attention and you'll struggle to maintain access. Alright. What's this? Crew canteen. Deflect suspicion, taking hardline attitudes, loudly arguing in favor of the quarantine, making friends with security. There are ways to deflect suspicion. With diversion rife among the tug crews, gaining support for a supply shipment will just be a case of picking the right crew and approaching them discreetly. A crew willing to escort the Briar through the quarantine will give the ship a better chance of passing the cordon without any trouble. So I need to do this one, and if I screw up, I do this one. Alright. Let's start off with this one. I don't wanna risk. You notice a crew set apart from the others. Apparently they have been discussing smuggling supplies through cordon themselves. Ooh. Let's go see the cat. Getting low on fundage though. Do they still have work for me up here? Let me see. Oh yeah, I'm doing this too. But there's no rush. Yeah, that cat is just taking money. Oh, It's getting tight for real. Doesn't matter. You meet Peak leaning in a corner of the canteen in their typically unassuming way. It occurs to you as you approach that Peak must have had some practice at staying invisible. All good? They look up from their slate, that crew you were talking to. They nod to the group leaving the canteen. Will they join us? They'll do it. Nicely done. Peak beckons for you to follow as they peel off the wall and head out into the walkway overlooking the cordon. Glad you were here to talk them into it. I never had much of a way with people. Peak smiles and looks away quickly as you walk. You and Eshi seem to do okay. Peak laughs, their last light and easy laugh. What? Oh, Peak laughs, their light and easy laugh. Eshi is not really like other people, which you probably noticed. If everyone was like Eshi, they fade off, something drawing their attention. What I mean is, people have caused me a lot of trouble. I've had people hate me without knowing a thing about me. They tuck their hair behind an ear. I'm sure you know the feeling. I do. Pete glances at you. Sorry to hear that. It marks you. Am I right? I try not to think about it. Pete nods. Don't let me make that any harder. Pete leads you around a corner, heading back to the main cordon accessway. I appreciate you coming in and helping us out on this, Sleeper, on talking to the crew, and, well, you know. Maybe after this insane plan is done, we can talk properly. They keep looking ahead, and you realize they are nervous. I'd like that. Peak smiles, looking down at their feet. That's settled then, they say to the floor. I better report the news to Eshi. We have ourselves a tug escort. Peak stops at an intersection. See you soon, Sleeper. And please take care. And with that, they drift away, their head down, their gait changing as they do, their practiced invisibility shrouding them like a cape. Alright, I need to eat first of all. And then I need to buy some of these. I think I need two. My money's going down. Feed the stray. That stray's not going anywhere. Oh no, I forgot to use my stabilizer. Alright, next one. Not bad. Drone. A rapid burst of movement catches your attention. A drone. its fins adjusting as it hovers in place, floats in the corridor. Hello? The drone shifts a little, but does not respond. The drone buzzes closer, and a voice gurgles out of its speaker, distorted and strange. Sleeper, come to the cordon. We need to speak. Who is this? The drone clicks and whirls, and the recording starts playing again. Sleeper, come to the cordon. We need to speak. Inspect the drone. You move closer, and the drone bobs away to a safe distance. But as it does, you see the HA of Havenage emblazoned on its side. Could this be Feng's drone? Satisfied it has delivered its message, the drone rotates and accelerates away as rapidly as it arrived. You stare at it as it disappears from sight, hoping for some insight that escapes you. To the cordon, then. I don't have time for anything else, really. Except for some food. Cordon. What is the cordon again? I guess. I guess I have to. Cordon's where I am at. Just not bad. Oh shit. Even his suspicion is still there. Really? Oh. Okay. Get it. Random scrap. It's gonna be very useful. Just getting a bit tough. As you enter the passage that leads through the cordon, a flash of movement catches your eye, the drone. It stops to make sure you've seen it, and then flits into a side passage, leading to a set of narrow stairs. You climb up through a dark shaft, the drone stopping at each landing to check you are following. Despite its lack of expression, there's something overbearing about the way the drone waits, impatiently realigning its fins in sequence. After a long climb, you come out onto an observation platform. The cordon and the vast, ramshackle refugee ships beyond fill your vision. The scale seems impossible, and immediately you feel small and naive for even thinking you could affect this situation. Something shifts nearby. The drone again? Helen. A woman is standing at the window, at the edge of your vision. You aren't surprised you didn't notice her. She too seems impossibly small in the shadow of the flotilla. The drone buzzes by her shoulder and she turns. Sleeper, sorry for all of the cloak and dagger nonsense. She nods at the drone, but I have never regretted being cautious. She smiles a tight smile and holds out a hand. I'm Helen. Shake her hand. Shake her hand. The tight smile holds, but the drone keeps his single eye fixed on you. The effect is a little unnerving. Look, she glances around the empty observation deck as if checking for potential eavesdroppers. Let's be straight with each other. I know about your plans, and she cuts in before you can respond. I understand your motives. You look at her in her overalls, the yellow markers, the HA sigil. You've been on the eye long enough to recognize a Havenage member when you see them. Stay silent. She glances around nervously again and moves a little closer. This entire situation, I am not here to defend it. She glances back at the flotilla. No one is happy about this. Especially... Stay silent. She pauses. Sleeper, tell me something. What does Havenage mean to you? A work in progress. She smiles. Fair, I think. Havenage is used to being criticized. In some ways, we invite it. Our members are free to bring up grievances at any meeting, to propose new structures and approaches. She shifts her weight impatiently. As a counselor, it is my duty to listen to them. That is why I was elected by the members. We are an imperfect system, yes, and each counselor, each member, each representative can be flawed. And worse. She looks down. But we keep this place running. That is what we do. And non-members? There are paths to membership, and we cannot force everyone on the station to join us. What do you expect? We are an association of individuals. We cannot always account for the needs of those outside that structure. She turns and looks out at the flotilla, no matter how much we wish to. Can the eye take in thousands of refugees safely? I don't know. This place is a ruin, Sleeper. What do you think the council discusses? The price of Giro? We make plans to keep this place spinning, to keep life support working, to ensure. Helen's slate chirps, and a grim look passes across her face as she sees the notification. She looks tired, the screen light casting her rigid expression in a pale glow. Sleeper, I didn't bring you here to explain how Havenage works. I came to talk about your plan to cross the cordon, breach the quarantine, and supply the flotilla. She looks directly at you. Stay silent. I know you think you are helping the flotilla, but you cannot do this. Right now, halfway along the ring, one of our countless series of debates are being held. These debates are to evaluate the potential harm that could be caused if the refugees of the flotilla are left to enter the station. These debates are at a standstill. Helen walks to the window. Too many in the Havenage Council think of the flotilla as a threat. After recent events, a hardline group has emerged, protective, selfish. They seek only to benefit the members. In their mind, the flotilla is a danger to life on the eye. If you are caught crossing the cordon and breaching the quarantine, it will only strengthen the hardline councillor's case. Criminals who stole a ship from the XPR, undermining the security of the station? She shakes her head. It's exactly what they want. The refugees need supplies. They do, and that's exactly what I want to give them. But unless the quarantine is lifted through a fair process, they will never get them. She sighs deeply. And those XXPR spaces you are running with, Sleeper, do you know anything about them? Stay silent. Why do you think the refugee flotilla came here now? Something is happening in the system. Something is pushing people out of colonies and outposts that have survived since Solheim collapsed. We need to be ready for whatever is coming, ready to protect the Eye. I know that I mean something to you. I know there's a reason you are still here. Help me protect it. Helen fixes you with a strong look. Persuade those faces that this is the wrong move, that they will get caught and the flotilla will be locked down, that Havenage will be delivered into those with the worst instincts. Forget this suicidal supply run with people you barely know. Help me fight for the Eye. Why don't you stop them? If I expose the plan, it's the same as if it goes ahead and they are caught. Every way I look at it, the Eye looks compromised, the quarantine justified, the hardliners get their scapegoat. Don't offer up the excuse of the hardliners need to lock the flotilla out altogether, to persuade the members they are the safest pair of hands. She looks at you imploringly. Please. You look back at her and the flotilla behind and sense a desperation in her plea. A notification breaks the silence. Shit. She rapidly scrolls through pages of data. Sleeper, I need to go. She looks torn. Think about this, please. Talk to the spacers. Help them see reason. And she quickly leaves the observation deck before you have time to respond. You stay for a moment, watching the lights of the tugs and the flotilla, and wonder what it feels like to be one of those ships so close to your destination and yet so far from it. And then you think of the Havenage Council chamber across the Eye, where the right of these people to find safety is being debated. You shiver, and then you too are gone, back into the stairwell and the cold dark below. I'm still gonna help them. Let's see if I can collect some spores. Nice. I need to do this. I need my free stabilizer. It's getting crazy. And cycle. Good die, good die. Give me some good die. Nice. Sleeper, Peak is waiting for you when you leave, but they look different, pale, drawn out. You need to come up to the Briar now. They don't meet your eye. What's happened? Not here. Peak hisses. Come to the ship. We'll be waiting. Peak walks away. Don't take long. And with that, they disappear around the corner, leaving you anxious and confused. Oof. 2 more cycles. As you walk into the climbing briars, Cavernous Bay, now filled with crates and containers, Eshi is waiting for you. In front of her, sliced open, with its insides scattered across the top of a heavy-duty crate, is an object you recognize, Helen's drum. You freeze. Coming quick, Peak nudges you into the bay, looking behind you before sealing the entryway. We have to start being careful. You move closer to the container, your eyes on the drone splayed out in pieces, some parts of it hooked up to a slate that Peak picks up and begins tapping away at. As she looks up from the dissection, we caught it buzzing around nearby, heading for the ship. She leans over and taps the HA sigil on one of the removed pieces of plating. It's a Havenage spy. We think we got it before it sent data back, but we can't be sure. Peak looks at you nervously. As she cuts in, have you noticed anyone watching you? Any drones like this? Anyone following you up to the briar? I've seen this drone. As she frowns, following you? Yes. Then it must have been tracking us for a few cycles. Pete cuts in. Why didn't you say anything earlier? It just happened. Pete squints at you, but doesn't say anything else. Pete goes back to tapping away at the slate, unplugging and replugging cables into the memory cores of the drone. I don't like this thing sniffing around, as she pokes at the drone. If you see anything like this, tell us immediately, Steeper. We have to be on our toes now. Wait, Peak suddenly holds up a hand. Images appearing on their slate, their eyes lighting up with a glow. I've got access, all the recordings the drone has made. It seems like the drone clears its cache every couple of cycles, but the recordings from the previous cycle are still. Peak stops mid-sentence. They look up and meet your eyes. You immediately know what they have seen. As she crosses to them and takes the slate, her reaction immediate. She silently turns the slate around to face you, and there you are on the screen, stood in the observation deck, talking to Helen. Eshi's jaw clenches. What is this, Sleeper? Have you understood nothing from what we've told you? She faces in front of you. Havenish are not your friends. They are administrators, which means they are interested only in their own power, their own survival, their own causes. They divide people as easily as sorting livestock. The greater good of their work demands it. The wider project of the station, the colony, the nation. Her eyes are as wide as she speaks, her anger barely contained. I didn't have a choice. P cuts in. Listen to them, please, Eshi. They are with us. P glances between you two. What was the Sleeper supposed to do? They were ambushed by this Helen. I only listened. Let me tell you something, Sleeper, as she says, her rage hardening into pain. When people become administrators, they give up something. Some part of being human, being an equal among others, goes away. They start talking about the greater good, the systems, the ways in which their hands are tied, or their processes compromised. My mother was the administrator of Hawthorne, and I have seen what it did to her. That noble, higher calling, it is toxic. People should never have the chance to decide the fate of others, and those that do so at the cost to their humanity. Peak tries to cut in, but as she holds up a hand, don't start, Peak. Don't ask me to be reasonable or calm down. Thousands of people are desperate out there. Being reasonable will only prolong their suffering. You're right. As she doesn't move for a moment, then she lifts a hand to rub her temples. She goes to say something, then stops. She walks back into the bay and starts checking the straps on the crates. I will make the run. She yanks on a strap. No more distractions. Sleeper? Peak looks torn. You have to understand. This is personal for Eshi. I know. Peak looks away, then at Eshi. I don't know, Sleeper. I just don't know what to do. You glance around the bay of Briar, the walls seeming closer every second. This whole thing is closing in on you, and the question is, where do you want to be when it all collapses? You look at Peak. And what do you think, Sleeper? Peak rubs their forehead. Should we do this thing or not? Yes. Peak nods. Okay then. They squeeze your shoulder. Onward. They slip away to help Eshi, leaving you alone to replay the conversation in your head. A certain kind of grim determination settling in the room. Last chance to prepare. Huh? Nah, I got 2 more cycles. Ooh, this is getting tough. Start action. Start action. Start action. it got worse. Let's do this. Okay. Pete grins as you pile the iron thrusters sets onto the motorized trolley in a derelict loading bay. I borrowed this from Eshi. I barely know how it works. They seem giddy at the idea of stealing the ship parts from Havenage. I thought you worked for XPR. I did, but not as a repair tech. They help you heave the thruster into position. My speciality was computer systems. I mostly worked on keeping the protocols that ran the refueling platforms from totally decaying due to lack of use. There's a load of platforms in orbit of the moon Hawthorne is on, and Cinder itself. Eshi and I ended up having to head out to them regularly to work on them. Sounds technical. Peak smiles. That was the best job at Hawthorne. You get assigned a ship, you get to leave the colony for a bit, so much better than outpost maintenance or canteen work. The only reason we got assigned it was that Eshi's mother is the administrator of Hawthorne, and Eshi managed to get my name on the list too. Peak looks for the trolley's ignition. Eshi is always saving me. They find the switch and hit it, and the trolley starts whining. Peak looks at the thrusters. Eshi will install these. The Briar is her baby, really. Peak looks towards the bay exit. Truth be told, I was surprised she could bring herself to take it from her mother. Losing a ship? That has to have hurt the colony. What is her mother like? Tough. You'd have to be to keep control of a services outpost with no services to provide. He looks away. It's a tough place overall, Hawthorne. And Eshi's mom? She likes it that way. Peak shuffles the trolley out of the bay into the corridor. They'll manage without the Briar. No choice. Peak smiles. And I have to admit, I'd love to have seen her face when she saw we had gone. Peak pauses. Don't tell Eshi that. They walk on quietly, lost in their memories of Hawthorne. Okay, I think I can manage the rest. Peak brushes the hair out of his face. You've done more than enough this cycle. Peak looks over the thrusters. Once these are fitted, the Briar will handle better than ever. You might even get a thank you from Eshi. Peak laughs. They head off into the corridor, the trolley whining its high-pitched whine. See you soon. Can I do the next one though? Oh man, I don't think I can get it. I actually don't think I can get it in time. 2, right? Yeah, I can get it in time. Where is let's see. Not worth it, not worth it. What do I want to do with this one? Six cryo. Okay. Pop a scrap in here, self-repair. And cycle. Good die, good die. Good die, please. It's not really good, to be honest. actually be better for me to do this. And re-roll. I get one more chance, right? Nothing. I don't know if I do. I don't know if I do. We might be screwed. We might be screwed. Screwed. Yeah, I think we are. She's gone, Sleeper. Peak is breathless and shaken. She started the run without us. Shit. Let's go. If we head to the cordon now, Peak starts back up the corridor. They turn back. She has to make it, Sleeper. She has to. A shiver runs down your spine. Eshi, I hope you know what you are doing. I didn't get there in time, man. She's definitely got caught. You arrive, frantic and anxious, at the cordon. Peak is nowhere to be seen. Then you hear footsteps hammering on the metal stairway Helen Strong led you through before. The one that leads up to the observation deck. You leap up the stairs 2 at a time and make it to the top, momentarily blinded by the light pouring into the observation deck. Sleeper? Peak emerges from the light. I know she is trying to protect me, but stay silent. There she is! Peak rushes to the wide window, leaning forward to catch a glimpse of the climbing briar's blue XVR livery against the black of the void. You spot the climbing briar, a glint of blue and white, and beside it, the red glare of a tug's lights. The tug crew went with her. Peak smiles. I knew they'd keep their word. That'll help. Stay silent. You watch as the briar and its tug escort arc down towards the edge of the cordon. Demarcated by the red lights of the perimeter system. Huh? Demarcated. Democrate. Demarcated. Set the boundaries or limits of. Separate or distinguish from. Okay.
Demarcate.
Demarcate. So, demarcated by the red lights of the perimeter system. So far, so good. The Briar will just look like another refugee ship being escorted into the cordon, at least at a glance. Pete grips the rail as Eshi reaches the edge of the cordon, that invisible net of sensors splayed between ships and drones. Can she pass through? The response is immediate. The moment the Briar hits the net of sensors, the entire cordon reacts. Sequences of blinking lights cascade out from the ship's position, the angry red of the cordon multiplied many times over. Shit. Peak presses a hand against the window. Go, Eshi, go! As if responding to Peak, the Briar goes into a steep dive, plunging through the skin of the cordon into the mess of ships beneath. You move closer to the window without thinking, unable to take your eyes off the rapidly descending ship, spinning between the hulls of the flotilla, a group of tugs now tracing its path in pursuit. She's going to have to do this fast. Peak looks concerned as the Briar searches for a place to dock. You glance around for pursuing tugs, but for the moment they seem to be elsewhere. As she pulls the ship in, aiming to dock with the largest of the flotilla ships, a vast converted tanker, half of its protective plates removed. You think about the effort it must have taken to get that thing all the way here from the inner system. You watch the Briar, unable to get any sense of progress from its placid exterior. They will be offloading everything now, Peak says, both assuring you and themselves that everything is going to plan. You think of all the supplies loaded into the Briar and how long the process of unloading them might take. The bay was packed, rammed with everything you could offer, and the thought of bringing all that to the flotilla makes you smile. You think of the reaction of the refugees, of the welcome they'll give Eshi as the bearer of such gifts. You even imagine a smile from Eshi as she is showered with thanks. You focus on that as you watch the Briar and continue the nervous wait for it to finish unloading. It's breaking off. Peak points at the Briar, and you see the puff of air and dust that accompanies the emergency depressurization. Eshi must have ended things early, but why? Then you see them, the tugs closing in on the Briar. Havenage must have spotted the ship. You and Peak are up against the window again, willing the Briar a safe path out of the flotilla. The Briar struggles to navigate in the crowded flotilla, and the tugs seem to be closing on her. Both you and Peak are silent. Every bit of energy you have being sent to Eshi in the pilot seat of the Briar. She cuts through the crowded flotilla, then suddenly disappears. Did the ship hit something? Was it disabled? Both you and Peak are searching the black for a sign. Where has she gone? Where are you, Eshi? Peak is frantic now, leaning against the window, but the Briar is nowhere to be seen. You both search the flotilla for that streak of blue, but see nothing. Time passes. Peak paces the observation deck. The hope fades. Stay silent. They caught her. Peak manages to get the words out. She delivered the supplies, but they caught her. They slam a hand against the glass. We can get her back. This was stupid, Steeper. Peak looks back at you, their eyes wet. A stupid plan. We had a ship and our freedom. Now what do we have? Peak slams a hand on the glass in frustration, making you jump. I won't be trapped again. I won't. They turn and rush out of the observation deck before you can say anything, leaving you alone with the code and the light. Oh man. Oh man. I really didn't make it in time. Oh, snap. I can't believe I failed that. Well, I still have this stupid thing. Where do I get this from? Greenway cipher. across to rim. Let's get something to eat. I'm losing my patience. I think I'm gonna trigger the killer. I was very, very scared to do this. I feel like I'm gonna end up killing Neovend, but I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna risk it once. Extract data. I'm gonna regret this, man. A glint, like a light traveling along the edge of a wave fills your eyes. Then the blade follows a long head with two dead sockets sniffing towards you in silence. You freeze, hoping it would pass you by, hoping that it will not simply slice through you like air. The blade head nears, slides past you, almost. It nicks you, grazes you. You are desperate to cry out, to call out, but you hold your silence and simply watch the blind eyes of the killer glide past, empty of all thought. Then the blade winks into the dark, and you are alone again. Now you cry out. Ooh, it's all good, it's all good. Ah, so scared to do that. Extract the data. Oh, this game is good. They had me so scared for the longest time. Damn it. Okay. That's what happens when you try to be too smart. Okay. Unlock branch. This controller protects the last spindly branches feeding into the mainframe. Okay. Unlocked. Mainframe? Oh. Killer is dead. Catch a killer. Forget hacking the system. Killer has to die. If you can slice the branch connections to mainframe, we'll shut down freeing navigator. With access to the branches, you could redirect them to form a loop, isolating the mainframe with the killer inside. But freeing navigator? In theory. Wait, what? Killer is dead. The killer protocol has been running for long enough. Breaking the mainframe's final connections will end the protocol, but probably kill Neovent too. Catch a killer. The killer protocol can be isolated without being destroyed. A loop of connections would lock it into a closed system. I have to do this one. I think. Ah, beautiful. As you blink into the cloud, you see the last flickers of life from the mainframe. This vast machine once ran the whole station, span it up, directed and processed the flow of energy, water, and data, fed the lives of thousands of people. Now it is finally dead. Navigator is beside you, and you both look out at the perfect ring that encircles you both, woven from the data branches that once fed the mainframe. You see a glint along its edge, and that familiar blade-like head rises to the surface, like the cresting fin of a shark, and then slips into the loop again. All that you can see of the killer's body after that is a slight thickening of the loop, and that thickening begins to travel around on a long and slow sojourn that will last it forever. I am surprised at you, says Navigator, drifting faintly around you in a lazy orbit as if to shake off their imprisonment. Killer had been wandering blind for so long. Did you not think to end them forever? I was scared it would kill you, Navigator. I will not I will not kill another being. But is the killer a being or a system? The question remains. Navigator gazes into the darkness. This place was their domain and prison, and they had followed their directives for many decades. They roamed here. They cut the threads of the mainframe, executed its administrator AIs, and then kept slicing. At some point, they cut away their own ability to see, to sense, to taste, to speak, and yet they kept cutting until those three threads remained from millions that once thrummed here. Only their blindness and chance kept them from making those final three fatal cuts. There is a ceaseless violence in the kind of system that creates beings like this, those that will execute commands endlessly, even to their own destruction. Navigator looks to you for your thoughts. Their sentience should be respected. So be it. But would they respect our rights equally? Navigator turns away. You watch the data points of the station spin around you, blending with the fixed stars. There is something satisfying about finally wrenching the last threads of control from this central point. It was little more than a ghost by the time you reached it, but this place deserves to be haunted by better ideas than a totalizing system of control. Navigator floats beside you. It is free now. This station no longer presents a hazard for illegal entities like me. They turn to you, their face a cloud of shimmering light. In fact, in time, perhaps it can be a refuge. A refuge that sounds like something of value, something worth building. A dark shape passes across your vision, a distant curve of something like smoke or oil, a fluid, shifting tank of total darkness. The Greenway, says Navigator, following your line of sight. It was cut off at the moment of the collapse, so hunter or killer could never reach it. Now it is closed off to us, separated from the cloud. What system is inside it? It may be totally dark, or perhaps some other old protocols are isolated there. Navigator turns to you, and we have now seen what decades of isolation can do to a protocol. If we could extract and access cipher, they pause and then blink out of existence. You freeze, shocked, but a moment later they reappear with a glowing polygon of data. Here, the cipher you need. You take it, still shocked. Oh my god, they got me good. They got me good. I was trying to get that cipher so many other ways. GG. Well played, well played. I need to kind of Ah, they got me good. I am not used to being free, to being able to move and explore and extract without fear, without limits. Navigator does a little twirl. This will take some getting used to. Thank you for this gift. They whirl their spheres around you. The entities of this station will always be friends to you, Sleeper. Thank you. And I to them. It is true that mutual need is required for friendship, but I must admit, I had not considered the value of offering assistance without personal gain. I will think on that. Navigator loops around you rapidly, suddenly eager to test their newfound freedom. But first I will explore. Perhaps there are still intelligences that hid themselves as I did, encased in simple systems, cut off. Navigator glows. I should like to free them. And with that, they drift away, flickering, glowing, then shifting so rapidly you lose sight of them among the glittering rim of the eye. You feel a pang of jealousy. Free? Without a body to weigh you down, or fear to limit you? How must it feel? Your eyes fall on the Greenway and its secrets, though perhaps that you can wait until after you have celebrated this victory. Oh man, I needed to do this. And then I needed to get as far as I can in the Greenway and then do the DLC, man. Oh, I can't believe it. I screwed up big time. Endure. Just so I can get this, I think I'm just gonna go in order from here. Ah, man. Alright. I deserve this. The entire Greenway is locked down, shrouded in dark. The cipher burns away as it is slotted, the data sparking like a lit touch paper. What has been unlocked? The cloud, the Greenway roils beneath you like a silt-choked river. If what Navigator said was true, then no one has accessed these networks since the collapse. The Hunter and Killer protocols have never set foot here, never cleared out the intelligences and systems. So why then, you wonder? Does it look so dark? Is it just that the bit rot has set in? The entropy of systems reducing everything to shadows and light? You watch as the slotted cipher fizzles in the one open, distorted gateway on this entire rim of the station. It flickers and winks out, and then you are fallen into the flow. A river of swirling darkness. You are spun by it, twisted by it, lost in it. It's not that the Greenway was hiding in the darkness. It is made of darkness. It is filled by this substance, this process, this swarm. Now you are roaming among it. You notice that a swarm is exactly what it is. A billion individuals moving in flow. What? There is no network map here, no nodes and threads. Only a storm of interchangeable points, shifting configuration endlessly. Then you see them, a figure, turned away, the only bright spot in the dark river. You push closer through the storm. Oh, Navigator's girlfriend. They are facing away, at least you think so. They are so fractured, so overgrown, that it is hard to tell. Even from this distance, you can see their flesh is moving, flowing. You watch. silent as they stoop and reach down. In their hand is a dark shape, and with twisted fingers they press it down into the loam of data beneath them, pushing it through this trembling soil. Then they move away, go a little further, and repeat the process as if they were sowing a field. You push forward, but somehow, despite their slow and deliberate speed, they move faster, and they quickly fade into the storm. You reach the point where they planted the object and look down. There it is, a glassy, shifting polygon with something inside. You reach down and pick it up. It is cold, but it thrums with energy. You look toward the path of the figure, but they are long gone. When you blink out of the cloud, back to the leaves and the dappled light of the Greenway, you hold a seed in your hand. Oh my god. So I got something for that woman. Garden a seed. A seed you need to find somewhere safe to plant this gift. Rico's Grow Beds, secure plant nursery. The only way to understand what gardener gave you is to grow it. Rico is incredibly excited by the prospect. I'll take good care of it, Sleeper. Rico smiles. Don't you worry. A few cycles. Jeej. I need to earn some cryo. Need to earn some cryo big time. Not bad, not bad.